Hey guys, I've come to Alibag today for the first time to check out some luxurious properties. Let's find out who is the man behind this spectacular house. I'd love to know what it takes to afford a house like this. If you're interested, watch till the end.
Yep.
Hey, you're Pavan Anand, right? The jewels guy. Jewellery
Who are
guy.
you and what are you doing here?
Have you heard of finance with Sharan by any chance?
That's you.
That's me, yeah.
I know you.
Would you mind if you come for a couple of minutes and check out your property?
Come in.
Wow, this is a beautiful, beautiful house. A lot of glasses here, I must say. Like, you don't have a lot of walls. It's like very transparent.
It's called Glass House 91 for a reason.
Who did you hire to make this house?
Well, it's mostly my vision, but we did have a team that worked on it.
Are you an architect?
I studied to be an architect,
Okay.
but then I decided to sell diamonds. But
Okay.
this is one of those things where I figured I'd work on my passion as well.
Do you live here?
This property, maybe I'll visit once in a month.
Once in a month.
Yeah.
You made a house in Alibag for living once in a month.
Come on, you have to make the money to own this house as well, right?
What's that? Is that like a artwork on stone?
That actually is an abstract cubism inspired art by an artist called Nirvanath. He's a student,
Okay.
so he only got the weekends off, and he would sit here in the sun morning till night painting that.
Damn. Alright, can you show me something else in your house?
So this is the pool, which is, as you can see here, it's called a knife edge pool.
Because it's right on the...
Yeah, you can't see the surface. The surface
Yeah.
is on the same level as your floor. This is the mirror maze sculpture.
This one.
This is shards of metal. This is actually chrome, white chrome,
Okay.
and all of these reflect into each other. So they create this sort of moment, this sculptural moment in the middle of the home. It's a very Instagram-friendly home.
That's what I'm here for.
Yep.
I have a lot more questions to ask you.
So
Like,
that's the living room. And
what's this? This looks like it's going to a bachelor pad.
So this actually is what we call the 270-degree glass tunnel.
Okay.
And this goes to the private master ensuite. So this, Sharan, is my private terrace to my private ensuite. And from here you can see the whole property.
How big is this space?
The plot is about half an acre. And the home is about 4,500 square feet.
Wow. Like, do you kind of give this house for like, for renting?
We did initially
Like, what is the rent if I have to rent this for a day?
about $1 lakh a night.
Lakh a night. Interesting.
This is one of the most very popular property in Alibag for many reasons. Let me show you my favorite part of the home.
Okay.
This is what we call the red crystal corridor.
Because of the ceiling?
The ceiling. The ceiling is 34 cubes made out of vermilion crystal.
Vermilion crystal.
Yes, that's the color. The inspiration was rubies. Being a jeweler, I wanted to bring rubies into the interior somehow,
Okay.
but to still make it look artful and modern and eclectic.
What's this painting over here?
This reflects nature in some capacity.
Everybody says that you can imagine whatever you want in modern art, right? Like, what do you see here?
This basically for me is a reflection of the nature outside that we brought onto the inside.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And that in fact is
Is that like supposed to be the clouds and this is
something
the grass?
like that.
Interesting.
And that one is an extension of the
this-
ceiling. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're right. Wow, you planned the
Everything.
painting based on the design in the room. It's
Even-
not like just picked a random painting.
Even the grey stone is sort of matches with the grey walls,
Interesting.
and the gold in these matches with the gold specks in the art there.
So Pavan, you're clearly somebody who has a lot of insights and a lot of story behind what you've become today. Would you mind if I take another 20 minutes of your time and do a podcast in your house? What do you say?
I would love that.
You sure you're not doing anything?
I would love to do that.
Fantastic. Let's do it then.
Let's.
which numbered home is this for you?
In India, 4th.
This is your 4th house in India. And totally altogether all over the world, how many houses do you have?
A few.
Like you lost count.
No, I won't take it that far, but I love real estate, so.
So if I had to just look at the value of this land, half an acre, like how much did you buy it for and what do you think the value has appreciated to?
We would have bought this plot of land for roughly 3 lakhs a gunta. A gunta is 1,000 square feet.
How many guntas is this?
22. But today, the cost is around 25 lakhs a gunta.
So you got it for around 60 lakhs, 60, 70 lakhs?
Yeah.
And today it's worth
5, 6, more.
5-6 years.
More than that.
So
Just the land.
It has 10x in 10 years.
Yeah, around that time.
Can you give some quick tips to the audience as to how can they make the right decision when purchasing real estate from an investment point of view?
You have to have a long-term horizon. I would say you need a 5 to 10 year horizon for any investment you make in real estate. Identify a location which is the future. Also notice which developers are entering which location. In my observation, that is a telltale sign of the future. If you see a new location where A-grade developers are suddenly showing interest, that is your first telltale sign that something big is about to happen.
So can you tell me a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your story? I know you're the jewel guy and you like making jewelries and stuff, but can you tell me a little bit about your story?
So I actually studied to be an architect, which really talks about my interest in design, architecture and real estate. As a child, I was obsessed with 2 things, diamonds and skyscrapers. Sharan, by the age of maybe 10, I knew the per square foot rate of every building in Mumbai Hill. That's where I grew up.
Okay.
So my interest really lay in these things right from that point. Then I decided I want to study architecture because seemed like the fair thing to do. So I studied architecture. I did pretty well in my degree. I got it, enjoyed it. But the love for jewels somehow overrode that passion. I was very adamant that whatever I do, I'm going to do it myself.
Okay.
I began my business with very little investment, my jewelry business at the time. Those times are also different. We're not talking about a different era.
How old were you when you started your jewelry business?
23.
At 23 you started it. And like how did you start? Like how much money did you put in to start your business?
Not much, maybe a couple of lakhs, which I think my dad did give me.
Okay.
Which I would have returned to him in a span of maybe 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't pay him interest though. I did return that.
Like in the first year, how much revenue did you make for the company?
I would say we began doing 8 figures very quickly.
When you mean 8 figures, you mean crossing like a crore?
Much more. Very quickly.
Very quickly?
Very quickly. I would say in 6 months.
Within 6 months?
6 to 8 months.
As a 24-year-old guy? Wow.
We leveraged people that had the network, right? Like we approached the most prominent stores across the world, multi-brand stores. I will invest in the product. You don't have to buy anything. You get me the network of buyers. We'll collaborate and do something together. It literally began like that. Either you know the buyer yourself, you can access it yourself, or you're collaborating with somebody who you're sharing part of your profit with to get that network to you. That's how we began.
So now let's talk about your jewelry business. Can you tell me like who are your clients? Like who are the people who are buying jewelry from you?
Comedian Tiffany Haddish, Goldie Hawn, Kate Hudson. In men, Hollywood star Edward Norton, Royal Family of Monaco, Royal Family of Morocco. Recently, in fact, the Oscars this year, March, we did 2 pieces for Janet Yang, who is the president of the AMPAs. So she's the president of the committee of the Oscars.
Okay.
So that's the kind of woman that we create for. Independent, ferocious.
Power woman.
Ferocious.
Ferocious.
Yeah, I like that word.
Now you're somebody who has seen wealth not just in India, but you're across the world. You're meeting people who are considered as rich globally. But if I had to put a money figure to it, like after what level do you consider as, okay, that is a rich person, that is a wealthy person?
So there is a brain answer to this and a heart answer to this.
Sure.
I'll answer the brain answer first.
Okay.
Anyone who's worth, to me at least, is worth more than $100 million is rich.
It's about 800 crores.
There's many people in that bracket. There's people that today have trillions of dollars, which you won't even know their names.
Not because there's no trillionaire in the world, no? There are.
Is there?
But not in the Forbes list.
They're not interested in any list.
Okay.
They'll never be in a list.
But they're actually trillionaires.
Yes. So I'm just telling you that that's the band of what the wealth in the world I think today is. That's the brain answer.
Okay.
The heart answer to it is that someone who's truly wealthy, I feel, is someone who has achieved financial freedom. And those figures may differ completely.
Yeah.
I know people who have $1 million and they feel and they live in a very comfortable way. Their minds and hearts are free and they're living an amazing quality of life. So I don't know what rich means anymore. I think it's a very personal choice.
In terms of your own skill set, what is that number one skill set which has helped you become, rich and successful so quickly at an early age?
Fearlessness. You're standing up and saying, F you all, I am going to only sell to the 1%.
I like that.
Right?
The 1%.
And I'm going to do this my way. I didn't follow around Bollywood actresses and actors to build a brand. And while this is a controversial statement to pass, it's true. That's how most luxury brands are built in this country. I was very clear.
Okay.
I'm stepping in and saying, I'm aiming straight for the stars.
So, would you mind sharing, what is the most amount of money you would have made in a single year?
I'm not gonna.
No, maybe in figures. You can't even say that.
Not gonna go into that.
So, I have a very controversial take on jewelry, right? Because when you look at purchasing jewelry, from an investment point of view, there is something called making charges, right? Because what happens is that the manufacturer or the jeweler has his own fees that he has to pay to the designer and the rent of the shop. So as soon as you walk out of the store, you lose 10 or 15% of the value of the jewelry that you just purchased. So if how would you what would you say to somebody like me to convince me to invest in jewelry?
So number one, of course, we should all be investing in gold to start with. Let me address that.
Okay.
Jewelry is an empowering commodity.
Can you elaborate?
When a woman or a man, today men wear jewelry all the time, always have been, today more so. When a woman walks into an event or a party or to anywhere, or even just by herself and is sporting this 10-carat diamond, you cannot put a value on the emotional empowerment that gives the individual. You can't quantify it. Or any piece that is valuable. When you walk into an event and you're wearing something that is obviously very valuable, you're asserting a certain power without saying anything. So there are two reasons you buy jewelry. One is gold. Let's put gold aside. One is this reason.
Empowering.
It is empowerment. Jewelry is power exchange. Number two, if you invest wisely, jewelry and gemstones can be extremely lucrative. I'll give you an example. There is a gemstone called Pariba tourmaline.
Okay.
There's a gemstone called Colombian emerald.
Okay.
There's something called pink argyle diamonds.
Okay.
All of these have shown returns higher in the last 10 years than equity, real estate, gold. Like for you, for example, I think you may enjoy just a bracelet in platinum.
Like what you're wearing.
No, this is diamonds. It's platinum, but it's set in diamonds. This is too bling for a finance person. But Maybe something simple, not so elaborate, but maybe just in metal with a few diamonds.
Okay.
So I would say start simple, and then build it up. Jewelry is it's a bit of a high. Once you sort of get a taste of it, then you want bigger and better.
So that the diamond that you're wearing, is that like a 10 carat diamond?
That is a 10 carat diamond. It's a 10 carat emerald cut diamond.
That's something that you give it for your fiance or something, that kind of a diamond?
I mean, you could if you want to.
So because the reason I ask is because nowadays we hear that, diamonds can be artificially made, right? So if I can make artificial diamonds for a much cheaper cost, like what is the reason why I'll buy a natural diamond which is very, very expensive?
It is. So number one, they're not artificial. They're lab grown diamonds. They're genuine diamonds. They are created via a artificial mechanism in a laboratory, and they're not mined from the earth. The final result is chemically is the same. It's opened up the world of affordable diamonds, right? The consumerist aspect of it, which is brilliant, but that will never compete with mined gemstones. How do you compare a 1 BHK apartment across the road to this home? You can't. So I think over the next few years, when this dust settles, which it will, the prices of mined gemstones, I think, will actually go further up because they'll become rarer and rarer.
So if I were to ask you, how much % of your annual income are you spending versus saving? Like how much is your savings rate of your annual income?
Over half.
You save about half of it.
Maybe more.
Got it. And like, how do you save it? Like, how do you invest your money?
Real estate, equity. My knowledge of equity is fairly limited, so I trust mutual funds and financial advisors for the most part. But we also get to invest a lot back in our business, right? Like when you run a business,
Of course.
that also becomes part of your investment.
I mean, that is the fastest way to grow money, right? Putting your money back into the business.
Right, but you also don't want to lay all your eggs in one
Of course.
place, so it's important to diversify that. So real estate and, for me at least, mutual funds mostly. Direct equities, I stay far away from it.
So if you were, let's say, 25 years old today, how would you spend the next 2 years of your life to be successful?
I would invest, not 2, I would invest 3 to 4 years, or at least 3 years, only building my personal brand first.
And how would you do it? By creating content?
Today, that's the answer.
Yeah.
The times we did it was different.
I don't know, people would know how old you actually are. If you can reveal it, you
46.
You don't look your age.
Thank God for that.
Very, very fascinating conversation. So thank you so much for allowing me to, infiltrate your house and do this thing.
You're always welcome.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, guys, for watching for this long. I'll see you in the next one.